Welcome, everyone. So the video pitch instructions, I'll just let you know. So it's a 2-minute duration. The video needs to be recorded in English, and you will need to upload your video file into a YouTube link. You must share your YouTube link using the form on the last module of the online course. We'll let you know where it is, of course. We'll keep you posted. And in the form, you are required to put in your name, your email, your WhatsApp number, your institution, your country, and your YouTube link. So it's all in there. The deadline of submission will be on Monday, the 28th of March, 12 p.m. Sydney time. So you can record your pitch using a mobile, a laptop, or a camera, as long as it would be better if it's in a landscape mode, just so it's, yeah, because when you upload on YouTube, so that there won't be black marks at the side, yeah. So to upload a video on YouTube, just click on your Google account icon on the right corner and select create a channel from the menu. So it will give you an option to upload a video if you already have a channel. If you don't have a YouTube account, you need to create your own YouTube account. So yeah, like in number 2, it says create a channel following the instructions on the pop-up. So in your creator studio, just upload a video in the middle of your screen, upload your video on the pop-up, input the title of your video and the description if you wish. Scroll down and select no, it's not made for kids, and select next. Next in the video elements, they will actually, YouTube will be checking it once you upload a file, so you don't need to change anything. In the visibility, select unlisted and then click save, and then wait for your video to process. Once your video is processed, there will be a video link that you could copy and you could send it over to us as well. So for the pre-finalist, the next step is for your institution to select the strongest idea. This would be on the 29th, on Tuesday, 2022, we will announce the top 3 finalists for the pitch. The finalists will receive individual mentoring invitation via email and WhatsApp. This will be your opportunity to have the Academy of Entrepreneurs team mentoring you on your idea and pitching skills. Yeah, the final pitch will be on Tuesday, the 31st, 5 to 6 p.m. Sydney time. Just check it out on your local time zone, because wherever you may be, of course, we have different times. And yeah, the pitch will be in English. That's it for me. Please let us know if you have any other questions regarding this, and it would be awesome to have you guys on board. We'll be mentoring you and it's going to be fun. And yeah, Lisa will be discussing what you need to include in your video pitch deck. And if you have any questions, again, please feel free to message, to type in the chat box, or to unmute yourselves. It's good to be interactive from time to time. All right, Lisa, the floor is yours.
Would you like me to share my slide deck? Yep.
Yes.
We'll swap over. So can we both share, or?
There, yeah. Your turn.
There we go. Thank you.
Sure.
Why is it doing that? It's being weird. There we go. It's me pressing wrong buttons. What a surprise.
Welcome to everyone joining us over from Facebook Live. If you have any questions, please do leave a comment. We'll be happy to answer it for you.
Hi, everyone. I know it's morning for, no, it's early afternoon for a lot of people, isn't it? Yes. Yeah. That's all right. I think it's my Saturday session, which is the morning still, but no, it's it's early afternoon. So I will run through what's in a pitch. So 2 minutes is a short, and I presume the Academy is quite strict on the time limit as well. And is that correct? So 2 minutes is a really short period of time to get your idea across, and it seems really overwhelming at this point in time. But 2 minutes is also quite a lot of time to share a lot of information. If you're really clear about your message and that you've actually practiced what you're getting to say. One of the advantages of you being able to video your pitch is that you can stop and start. If you're good at editing, you can potentially take a little bit out. You can rehearse, you can record it multiple times. There's no cost to that except your time, obviously, to get your pitch together. One of a really good way of putting your pitch together is if you've got a really big whiteboard or some blank sheets of paper or cardboard or big pieces of paper, is kind of put down all of what's in this slide deck, which I presume the students have access to. So this slide deck, I think there's about 15 slides. Hang on, there's hang on, so there'll be 13 slides. You won't get through 13 slides in 2 minutes. You would be like having a seizure and pressing the button like a crazy person to change the slide deck. So you need to be able to take these 13 slides and really reduce it down. I was saying before to Ange, my other students who do a business pitch, I give them 5 minutes at another place that I teach, and I tell them 5 to 6 slides. So 2 minutes, you're really looking at I would say no more than 4 slides. I'd probably aim for 2 or 3, but you might not be able to get the information down to 2 or 3 slides, so maybe 4. So you kind of reducing what I'm about to go through by 25%. So you're going to group like information together. So what's the name of your business? So I'll just run through this deck and then we can answer any questions. So you've got to let people know what the name of your business is. So if we were pitching for the Academy of Entrepreneurs, we'd want to say we were the Academy of Entrepreneurs. We want to have our single sentence pitch or our slogan. So that's I'm based in Australia. So in Australia, I presume it's a similar term overseas. We call it the elevator pitch. So if you got into the elevator on the bottom floor, by the time you got to the 5th floor, the 10th floor, the 15th floor, however tall the building is, how many floors you're traveling, you can actually tell somebody what you do in business, pardon me, what your cause is, what your passion project is in a matter of moments. So that's that single sentence pitch that we want to put in. Obviously, Boss Your Future is the one for the Academy. So that's what we would have on that slide if we were going to do a pitch for the Academy. The next slide talks about what is the problem you have identified and that needs to be solved. That you could have that on a slide, but that might be something that you talk about when you're introducing the business. So that's a slide you could potentially not actually have represented in the deck, but it's information, it's content that you need to be sharing. What you have to remember is when you're pitching that people can, whatever appears on the screen, so if you're videoing and you've got your laptop and your slides, you're screen sharing like I am, but I'm also speaking, you can see me, you can read the slides, you can read it faster than I can read it to you. You also can't read information and take in what's being said at the same time. Your system gets overloaded. So one of the best things to do in your slide deck is to have more graphics or pictures, something that builds emotion for the people that you're pitching to. So they're looking at that and they're getting a feeling from the picture and then they're listening to what you're saying. So lots and lots of words, too much information on a slide is overwhelming for people. So keep it really simple, really, really basic. And also, I presume most people in the class are comfortable in speaking in English and writing and presenting in English. But if English is your second language, the simpler it is, the easier it will be for you. So you don't have to overcomplicate or make things too difficult for yourself. So what's the problem that you're trying to solve? What are you trying to achieve? And that, as I said, I'd probably speak about that. I wouldn't necessarily have a slide about it. The solution is, what is the great business idea that you are proposing? And what's the massive, MVP here is minimal viable product, isn't it, to show us? So what is your great business idea and what's the minimal the smallest product that you're actually going to take to market to test that this great idea that you have done your market research on is actually viable. You could have a picture about that. It depends on what it is. Some of you may have some type of product or model or prototype. You can also say, look, it's going to be an app on a phone, and actually pick your phone up and show it. So remember to make it interactive, make it interesting. Just sitting there talking all the time gets a bit boring and you won't stand out. How many teams are in the class? Do you know how many, Ange? How many people are pitching in total?
No, I don't have the numbers yet because some are still joining. So we'll just see. Maybe at the last minute people would continue to join. But yeah, we'll definitely give time for the other people as well.
Yeah, but if you're in a class of 20 or 30 or 40 people and there's that many pitches, you need to be doing something that makes you stand out, because that's how you get remembered and your business idea gets remembered. So be mindful of that. Think about what you wear, some props that you might use, all that kind of stuff will add to it. But again, don't go like over, it's not a theatre production. You don't have to have special effects like a Harry Potter movie.
Yeah, because people who be listening to your pitch could also be, could be tired from listening to other people's pitch.
Exactly. Yeah. So the simpler your idea is, the easier it is for people to take that information on. If we make it too complex, the audience won't take it in either.
Definitely, yes.
And we also need to talk about, so as alongside the solution, we also need to talk about what's our value proposition. So what do we do? What is so great about our business idea that it's unique and different from anything else out there on the market? That might be the business model we're going to use. It might be the way we're going to take it to market. It could be a total revolution for your industry. It could be a whole host of things. So the solution and the value proposition, I'd probably start to be putting that information, that groups together for me. So I'd look at putting that together on one slide. The next slide is about the revenue model. So how are we going to make money? How are we going to spend money? And how will you make it work? It also comes into our expenses. So there's a whole host of things. All the finance stuff to me always seems to belong together. So I would normally have a finance slide in my deck and put all my money stuff on that one slide. Our market, so who's our audience? How big is this market, and how can you scale your business idea if it's something that you want to scale? Not everything is about scale. But to make impact, if we want to have impact, we normally have to be able to scale. And market validation, who have you spoken to? Have you landed any early adopters? Are there any opportunities? And this slide suggests that you impress the judges with your hustle and positive momentum. So again, the market validation, they belong on one slide to me. So I don't know how I'm going for slides. I'll go back in a minute and count them. Might be more than 4. Competitors, I would also put competitors in the market valuation, the market validation information. So who are you competing with? What separates you? So that's where your USP, your value proposition, that's where it comes in. How are you different? Well, it's your unique selling point. And can you map them? A customer matrix. I don't know what that actually refers to. I am sorry. Do you know what that refers to, Ange? How can you map them? A customer matrix?
I think that's just about knowing who your customers is, like how we discussed in the previous sessions.
I've never actually done a customer matrix, so I don't know. I mean, I've done market validation and competitor analysis,
it's
but
probably the same thing. It's probably the same thing, but they just call it matrix. Yeah, it's the same thing.
That's all right. I thought it was going to be some tricky.
No, you could explain how you do that. It's the same. Yeah, you could explain how that is.
That's good. That's all right. Your achievement timeline. So what are you planning on achieving? So there could be this could be a good slide where you could put in a variety of information. You could make a graph. On the graph, you could say the impact to your client base, your impact to your bigger goal. If you're looking at one of the UN sustainable goals, it could show your finances. So quite a lot of information could be put on a slide like this. So be mindful of that. But what are you planning on achieving? So in the first 3 months, in the first 6 months, in the first 12 months, in the first 2 years of the business, what are you planning on achieving? And it's that forecasting, and it sets the goals for you and the benchmarks, and shows you what you're planning to achieve, and it shows the judges what you're hoping to achieve. The impact, so how will your idea impact the community or country, depending on what you're trying to achieve. And again, for me, the impact probably sits back up with that problem and the name of the business and the solution. So I'd probably have one slide that talks about that, that has a graphic that shows that. And then I would talk about those details together. So the impact to me belongs with the problem and the solution and the name of the business. The team, so who is the amazing team? What are your key achievements, your advisors, your key players, and your co-founder? So you can have a slide with photographs on it. If you're lucky enough that you can actually have everybody be there for the pitch. Not everyone might speak, but you might be able to pan to everyone like, this is our amazing team, and come back or something. Depends on how creative you can be with your camera work and where everyone's located. Otherwise, you can have a slide just with photographs of everybody. The ask, so what are you actually, what's this pitch for? Are you raising funds? Are you trying to find clients or customers? Are you trying to collaborate with someone or find someone to help you with research or the next step in the process to build this amazing, to bring this amazing business idea to market? And what is the breakdown and use of funds? So if you're saying I need $50,000, well, $20,000 of that's going to be for R&D, and $20,000 of that is for production, and $10,000 of that is for marketing. Then that's what they want to know. They want to know where their money's being spent, and they also want to know, if you're asking for money, how they're going to make their money back, and at what point would you either pay them out or they'd be receiving a profit from what you're doing. And there's also, it says a thank you slide. I don't know that if you necessarily need a thank you slide. I'd probably just say thank you because again, 2 minutes is not a lot of time, and a slide takes time. So if we moved the name of the company, the problem, the solution, and the impact to one slide.
Combining them.
Yeah, combining that information onto one side. So some type of image that kind of wraps up, explains what you're doing, what the solution is, and what your impact's planning on being, and then you talking about those things while that slide's being shown. I would then look at even the value proposition could go in there, but it just depends on where you want to put it. And then your market validation and competitors on another slide. I'd probably put the team and what you're trying to achieve into another slide. And did I say finances yet?
Yes.
Finances, yeah, and marketing and market slide. So a market, who you are, what you're trying to do slide, a marketing and competitor slide, a finance slide, and probably the team and what you're trying to achieve slide. So down to 4 slides in 2 minutes. That's what I would do. The other thing that you have to do when you're pitching is you've got to obviously get a lot of information down. You need to make sure it's 2 minutes. You need to rehearse it so it's 2 minutes, and then you film it. One of the best ways to rehearse, so I started doing public speaking and debating when I was in second year of high school. So I've been doing it now for nearly 40 years, so quite a while, is to actually rehearse in front of the mirror. Now that sounds a bit weird and a bit strange, but every time, so if you have notes that you're reading from, so I've got a piece of paper and I'm reading from it while I'm getting used to it and knowing it, every time I look up and make eye contact with myself in the mirror, that's me making eye contact with my audience. And it's going to be different because you're not going to be in a room full of people. You're going to be recording to a video camera. So every time you look up, you want to be making eye contact with the video camera. And that's what you need to be doing. But be mindful of what are you going to wear, who's going to be there with you. So ideally, yes, we could be filming, we could be chucking our phone into some type of holder and auto filming it ourselves. We can do that. I've done that before for a pitch competition. But if you've got a team of people and you're near each other, then obviously bring the team together. The other idea is as you come up with, so if you're going to say, I'm going to go with 4 slides, I'm going to go with 6 slides, whatever, you then need to be grouping the information onto the slide. And for you and your story, what I've suggested might not work. So you might want to rearrange the information on those slides, and that's fine. One of the best ways to do it is to have the 4 or the 6 pieces of paper, however many slides you're going to have in your deck. And just on a Post-it note, I don't have any Post-it notes in my office because my husband has them all. But on a Post-it note, write down, I'm going to talk about finance on this, I'm going to talk about the team, and I'm going to talk about our value proposition. Just one idea on each Post-it note, and then you can move them around on what will be the different slides. And you can as a team, you might want to do it individually and then bring it together and see where you've got commonality, where you've got the same idea, versus where someone else might be wanting to do it a different way. Because from a team perspective, that's a really good way of getting the story cohesive, your narrative cohesive, and the business idea simplified. And then you start putting words down and pictures onto your slide deck and things. Any questions?
You can message your questions here in the chat box if you have any. All of you joining us from Facebook Live, hello. Please do, if you have a question, please leave them in the comment box below. You could also share you could also join us over on Zoom if you do wish. There's a Zoom link over there in our group. So yeah. There's a question if they need to add their revenue model in the pitch deck.
Yes. So they like to know in a pitch how you're going to make money, that you've looked at your expenses, how much is it going to cost you to set up the business, what your startup costs are, what your monthly expenses are, how much profit you think you're planning on making.
Is it a follow-up? A follow-up question would be, is it going to be the same thing if it was a startup, since we don't know how it's going yet? Like it's a very startup company. It's a fresh company. Like
you still need to be looking at your expenses.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need to be, at a minimum, you have to be paying for all the costs associated with the business. I get that, yes, we're in a startup phase, but you need to look at. So normally, I said this the other week on the other sessions, but I'll go through it again. Normally when I take my business students through their finances, when we're starting out and they're writing their business plans, I get them to look at 3 figures. One is their personal budget, so how much it costs them to live every month. So I work out all business figures on a monthly budget. So how much does it cost you to live every month? Because that's the minimum, like that's going to be one of the figures you're going to slot into your monthly expenses is your wage. So how much money do you need to be paying yourself? If there's 3 or 4 or 5 of you, I don't know how many people are involved in each of these teams for this particular program. But if there's 2 or 3 of you, then there's 2 or 3 wages that you need to be paying for. So that's one of your business expenses. So work out how much it costs you to live individually, and think about all the things that you pay for. Then the next thing to do is look at the startup costs for the business. So what will it cost you to actually launch the business? So that's if you've got to do any production costs, if you've got to do any training, if you need an office, if you need to pay for manufacturing, insurances, rent.
You have to break it down. Is that it?
A breakdown, yeah. So work out how much those startup costs are. And then out of that and how much you need to pay yourself, you can then make a list of your ongoing monthly business expenses. Mm-hmm. And often when we're at this initial startup stage, we need to know what the startup costs are, because for a lot of us, we don't have a spare $50,000 or $10,000 lying around. So we need to then find ways of funding our idea. And often in a pitch deck like this, when we get to the slide that talks about the ask, that's what we're actually asking for, some type of support. So sometimes it can be financial, but it might be, we need to find some cheap or free business premises so we can work on our idea. We need to find some free or cheap marketing support or technical support. So there could be a whole host of things that you're asking for. But until you look at your revenue, like what you need to be paying for, then you don't know how much money you need. Then the revenue model, this slide doesn't really say it, but the revenue model is about how much your product will actually cost. And you can't know that, you can't work that out until you know how much your business expenses are.
Can we do a trial? Can you do a pitch already for other people if we are still in trial and error for our products?
I don't, as in be involved with another team's pitch?
I think they're still in the product development stage, but they do need funding. So they already do the pitching, like to other people, like to pitch their business, etc. if they're still in product testing.
You can, but if so, you need to be then very specific about what you're asking for. So if you still don't know, if you're still working out what your product actually is, then you're probably not there yet. But if you're at the point where you have a prototype, so you have like a test model and you want to try and take it to market and see what it's like, but you don't have the money to manufacture that, then you're going to ask for that. But again, you're still going to have gone through your expenses because you need to know how much it's going to cost. Because it's one thing to develop an idea and go, oh, this is great, I'm trying to find something, oh, I've got a calculator. This is the bestest calculator that you're ever going to find. But when I manufacture it, because it's got new technology and it's going to cost $500, and then you can go to the judging panel and ask, oh, I want to make. So you actually need the calculator to do math. I'm going to make $100 of these, but they cost $500. Hang on, say they cost $500. Okay, I need $50,000 to make 100 of these as a prototype to see if people will actually buy them. But when you then take it to market, like, yeah, you get the $50,000 and you make it, but then you take it to market and go, people are like, I don't care that this has got new technology in it. I'll just use the $10 one I bought at Kmart. Mm-hmm. So then it's not a valid business idea because no one wants to buy your product and you've just wasted $50,000 making really expensive calculators that nobody wants. So you need to go through that validation process and then the revenue model to make sure that people will actually pay. It's not super expensive. We had in one of my other academy classes a couple of weeks ago, I had a friend come in who makes, it's Altina drinks here in Australia is what they're called, and they manufacture non-alcoholic drinks that are fancy. It's not a cordial that you might serve a child, and it's not anything alcoholic, and it's not really sweet. So they really found a niche in the market, and they were probably one of the first non-alcohol drink brands here in Australia when they launched about 4 or 5 years ago now. And they're a husband and wife team, and the wife is actually a scientist and she's a botanist, and she's come up and put all botanicals, so a lot of native Australian plants have gone into the mix. but they thought they wanted to have a social aspect to their business, and they want to change the drinking culture in Australia. So it's really big here in Australia to drink alcohol. You pretty much go anywhere and you're asked if you'd like a glass of wine or beer or spirit or whatever it is. And they wanted to fill that gap in being able to go out for dinner and have a drink that tasted really nice but wasn't alcoholic. And they were also hoping to have like a social impact aspect to their business, where they'd be able to give a high part of their profits into different charitable causes around changing drinking or helping people with alcohol issues, etc. But when they looked at their revenue model and their expenses, it was so much more expensive for them to be making their products because they're handmade, they've got unusual and rare ingredients in them, they bottle them, they make them in small batches, so the cost of production was really high for them, and they then had to change what their social impact was going to be, because they don't have the level of profit that they first expected before they went through the process of validation and talking to their target audience about how much their product actually costs. Because a bottle of their cordial, I think, is $20 or $25 for like a wine bottle sized. So,
how much will they spend to have it done?
I don't know how much it costs them to produce it, but to buy it retail, it's $20 or $25 a bottle. So today I bought us just cordial to drink, and I think I bought 2 liters for like $3. So, it's much more expensive. So you need to look at your revenue model, regardless of where you are on your startup journey. You need to have an understanding of how much that this would cost. It's really important. If you don't get the finances right, regardless of how great your idea is, your idea will not go anywhere.
There you go. We hope that answers it. Oh, here. Given that it's only going to be 2 minutes, can you please give us a breakdown or tips on how we'll go about everything and be memorable in just 2 minutes?
Practice is the first. So get all your ideas down. You've got to simplify them, refine them. Sometimes, particularly with your business name and the pitch and the problem and the solution, is find some people that don't know what you're doing. So whether they're friends or family or the person in the cafe down the street or the lady that lives across the road, and just say, hey, have you got 2 minutes? Can I just have got 30 seconds? If I tell you this, what do you think I'm doing? And if it's clear and they get it really quickly, then that's great. If it's over, if they're looking at you and they're confused, or they, or they ask you, I'm not really sure what that means, then you're not explaining it clearly enough. So that's really important. And so my idea would be to have 4 slides where I talk at whatever content's on that slide, I cover that in 30 seconds. So I'd have 4 slides, 30 seconds a slide. That's what I would do, just to keep it simple. And it's practicing. And then it's thinking about what's your business and what's your brand going to be like, and trying to bring that into your presentation. So I've had students before bring in props, have a music opening for like a couple of seconds. I can't think of what else I've seen, just different things. Just, be a little bit creative, be a little bit, a little bit unusual. Can the team, you might not have team shirts, but can you all wear the same color? Can you have the color of your logo somewhere in the clothes that you're wearing? So my business logo is like a teal green, like a bluey green. So I have a lot of clothes that are actually that color, or I wear a lot of blue. So that's I do that myself. Even my glasses, I purposely bought blue glasses because it sits with my logo and my branding.
So yeah, I think you have to think outside the box and how people would remember you within those 2 minutes.
Yeah.
We are a startup company thinking of asking for more funds, is it wise to already give them equity in exchange for funding?
Depends on what you're trying to do. Equity, it depends on your personality type, I think. So if you're someone who likes control and you have the determination to bring this idea to market and take the time that it will need for you to find the funding in other ways, self-funding or making a little bit of product or service and then selling and then building and building and building, or if you're someone who wants to get there really quickly. Because if you're willing to take your time, then you'll find the funds, that you'll come up with that. If you're someone that's trying to achieve a goal quite quickly, or it's more probably around technology where you need a big cash influx at the start, then you're probably looking at for investors and giving up a level of equity. That depends on what you're comfortable with, particularly if you're a team. Like if there's 3 of you working on the project, you already own all only own a third each already. So where's that, how are you going to divvy up the, we're going to reduce our ownership down to 25% each, and then we're going to give up 25% equity, or we're going to go down to 30% each and then give 10% equity away for money. And it also depends on what the return on investment will be and how much money you need. So if you're only asking for several thousand, probably up to $10,000 or $20,000, then you probably don't need to give up equity. But if you're looking at 100 or 150 or whatever, then they probably want a slice of your pie.
They'd probably be interested in it one way or another.
Yeah. So without knowing your business model and your team, it's a little bit hard to give more specific information.
What will happen if we don't finish everything in 2 minutes?
I don't know. This is the first time I've been involved with a pitch at the academy. If it was me with my class, I'd be madly ringing a bell and giving you dirty looks.
But sometimes, if you make like a good impression to them, like sometimes you can actually talk to them after you do the pitch. Like if you have made a good impression, but that was the time when pandemic wasn't here yet. And if you pitch, like you just say, hi, I'm Angel and this and that. But you could always connect to them like after the pitch.
Yeah, it's a little bit harder though when you're, you've
online.
You videoed it. And I don't know, it depends on the judging panel, and I'm not on that, so I don't know. What might happen is they might get to the 2-minute mark and stop your video and not watch the end of it. So I would do
really quick.
Yeah. I would do everything you can to be at that 2-minute mark.
And even before you record it, just so you won't get tired, of repeating everything again and again. You could, write your script, like Lisa said earlier. Just write your script first, review them. It's gonna be easier than doing an ad lib, or just because it's a time 2 minutes. You need to be wise with your time.
Yeah, so when I'm rehearsing for a pitch, because I do things where I pitch, I set my timer on my phone. And what I normally do is I also take note of what slide I'm up to. So I know that when I'm changing from slide 3 to slide 4, so when I'm moving to that last slide, I've got 30 seconds left or a minute left, depending on this is not going to work. But I've been part of a pitch festival here in Canberra a couple of times, and they give you 5 minutes. So I know they give you a bell at the 4-minute mark to warn you've got a minute left. And as usually the bell's ringing, I'm changing and I'm shifting onto my last slide. So I usually do 5 slides and I speak on each slide for a minute is what I do for the 5-minute pitch. So that's why I'm trying to take the same principle and reduce it down to 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hi to those who just joined us over on Facebook. Please feel free to comment your messages, your questions in the comment box. And those of you joining us here on Zoom, if you do have any other questions, please feel free to message them chat box, or you can unmute yourselves actually. So it would be an interactive activity.
Yeah, feel free to say hi, guys. There's a lot of
don't worry.
silent people.
But and thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. It's awesome to have you guys here. It would be more awesome if you guys could talk to us. It would be great. Yeah, there was a question. How many competitors should we declare? Are we supposed to say all the competitors we know, or we could just give examples of how many they are in the market?
Again, it depends on what you're trying to. Where's the competitor slide? It depends on your market.
I think it's on I don't know, page 11, but this is, yeah.
It's slide 10 in the deck I've got. That's okay. I think we've got slightly different decks, but that's okay. It really depends on what you're trying to do. So if you're bringing something that's quite niche to the market or new, then you're going to have less competitors. If you're bringing out a new chocolate bar, you've got a lot of competitors. So I would then look at, and it depends on your target audience. So it's making sure that your competitor analysis reflects the target audience. So if you were going to bring out a new chocolate bar for sports people, then that's a smaller market than just a chocolate bar that, you know, anyone can eat, or a chocolate bar for vegans, or a chocolate bar for people that are gluten-free. The market is less. So the more refined you are in who your target audience is, the easier it is for you to do your competitor analysis.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the main thing I think for you to know and to explain to the people or the judges would be how different you are from them, because that's what's important as well. If they're going to invest in your company, or if they even have, you know, if they are interested in funding you, you have to let them know that these competitors won't eat you in the market, if that makes sense.
Yeah, or you're going to get lost. Like there's so many competitors out there that your idea is going to get lost. They want to know that you can find that niche or that gap for yourself, and the next step in that is that you know who your target audience is.
Correct. So there's another question. What if we haven't landed any opportunities? Like, again, I think this is on their stage of product development, and they haven't really spoken to potential customers. Can they still pitch?
I presume so. I don't see. There's a slide here, isn't there? Where did it go? No, it's earlier.
Let me check.
I read it. Where is it? I can't find it. What is the breakdown use of funds? Thank you slide. No, it's not there.
I think it's
it's the market validation one.
Yes.
It really, so I've been part of another program here in Canberra. So I'm based in Australia's capital, Canberra, for those of you who, or for most of the people who are actually overseas. And we have an organisation here that does quite a lot of startup and entrepreneurial training, and I've done a few programs with them over the years. And they are always impressed with the team that's gone out there and spoken to 100 potential customers or 500 potential customers. So that, I think, is what this reflects, that hustle and that positive momentum. So sometimes it's not necessarily that you've spoken to someone and they're like, oh, we want to do a collaboration with you and this is the best thing we've ever seen, and, you know, doors are just swinging open left, right and centre for your business idea to move forward. Sometimes it's just the fact that you guys have actually put the work in and the time, and that can be represented. That could also be spoken about in the team slide when you introduce yourself and you talk about what your achievements are going to be and what you've already achieved so far. So it can be a nice check-in and a little bit of a reflection. So it might not be this really big, gold-wrapped opportunity that's been hand delivered to you. It might be the fact that your team is, you're still together after how many weeks the program's gone together. You've got defined roles. You've already spoken to 50 potential customers, or you've got 10 solid leads. It doesn't have to be this really overwhelmingly impressive thing to show that you've actually achieved something. So I think the way that is written might be a little bit overwhelming for some people, or making you doubt yourself. You will have achieved more than you realize.
Mm-hmm. Would it be possible for us to be the one to declare what we're asking for? What does that mean? I think that it means would they be the one to say the, for example, how many percent would be for the judge or for the investor? I think, is that what you mean? Yeah, I mean the terms can they be the one to declare the terms and offer it to the potential investor?
You can, but I'd probably leave it something more open. It's like, we are looking for an investment of, say, $50,000 in our business venture or our business idea, and we're willing to offer equity in return for investment. And you leave it as an open-ended comment. It doesn't have to be, oh, we've got 10% and we're happy to give it away to the person who'll give us the most money. I'd leave it as an open-ended thing, because sometimes you might get lucky and someone might go, well, I don't have the money, but I've heard about this organization that's giving out grants, and you might not actually have to give up any equity at all. Here in Australia, we have a lot of business grants available, so
they're probably just there to help you.
Yeah, there could be. You might find someone who's very generous and altruistic, and don't want that out of your business. They just want to see you do well. Yeah. So I'd just leave I have an open-ended comment. Yeah.
Welcome to those who just entered. Hi.
It's always 10 to 6. We get a lot of people rolling up, or 10 to, what is it? 10 to 2 where you are?
Yeah. There you go. Okay. Any other questions you have? Let us know. We have 10 more minutes, guys. Don't be shy. Just let us know.
10 more minutes to pick my brain.
10 more minutes to pick Lisa's brain for anything. We have very shy participants.
We do. I'd love to know some of the business ideas people have come up with.
Yeah, if you have any business ideas you want to talk about, maybe we could try it out right now.
Yeah.
Check it out.
You do a bit of target, product testing right here, service testing right here.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Come on, don't be shy. I'm always worried when everyone's got their camera off that they've gone to make coffee and they haven't come back.
Maybe so.
It's just you and I. It's all good.
It's all good. Okay, can you give us a tip on how to successfully pitch?
Everything I've said for the last 50 minutes.
Was to successfully pitch, but maybe a breakdown, just for them to prepare more. Maybe you could do that. Maybe for them to prepare more. What's that particular tip for you to give out?
It's getting all the ideas out of your head, and then it's refining them, so editing them down. It's then practicing until you're getting the content down, so you're down to the 2-minute mark. It's making your slide deck look nice and consistent, and then it's practicing until you're comfortable with it and you can deliver it in 2 minutes. It's practice. It's brainstorming, it's refining or editing, and then it's practicing.
Yeah, talk to your cameras or to your mirrors.
Yeah. Yep. I know I don't look at the camera all the time here. It's because the lovely Angel appears on that
please.
side of my screen. So I look at her lovely face because I don't have any other lovely faces to look at. And that's why it looks like I'm not looking at the camera.
Oh, please. So yeah, any other questions? Maybe you just really have to know what your business is. You have to know what what you're trying to solve, and the problem that you're trying to solve, and you have to know it by heart. I guess.
Well, it's practice. Yeah, there's nothing wrong. So here in Australia, we call them palm cards. So it's like getting a piece of, so this is just a pamphlet on my desk, but it's about the size of my palm. So nothing wrong with having a card like that in your hand that you refer to as, that might just have some dot points on it to keep you on track. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having a larger piece of paper if you have a lectern or a stand in front of you to speak off. There's nothing wrong with that. It's but it's also more engaging if you know what you're talking about, because that shows confidence, and that you can just talk to the camera and move around a little bit too. That can be quite good.
That was actually one question. Is it okay to have a cheat card? It's called a cheat card.
A cheat card. Well, we call it a palm card. But yes, you can have a cheat card. There's nothing wrong, but you just don't. Like, you don't want to be holding a piece of paper that big in my hand. So little. So taking, usually you can use, like you can use just normal paper, but finding something like a card, some card or cardboard, and cutting it down to fit your hand is better, because there's nothing worse than having several pieces of paper and the paper kind of sticks together and you're nervous and you've got the shapes. Ask me how I know this is from experience. And you can't do it over, and you don't want to stand there licking your fingers in the middle of a presentation. So having thicker cardboard, like paper, is better. You can actually move it easier if you're nervous. So there's a tip from experience.
There you go. That's from experience.
Yes. There's nothing worse. You got the shapes and you can't turn paper over.
We have one question. Like, we are a startup as of the moment. Do we still need to place the achievement timeline?
Well, ideally, yes, because there's things that you want to achieve. If I knew more about what your business was, would it help? But the achievement timeline. So it might be, it doesn't necessarily have to be what is here. So these are examples. There's growth per, so it says making people understand the underlying assumptions of your forecast is as important as the numbers you've fabricated. Well, fabricated's a little bit, it's not the word I'd use, but that's okay. But it might be, growth per month. So that might be how many customers or clients or products that you expect to see every month. Might be retention, that it could be team retention or financial projections. So there's some of the things. But obviously this slide was done a few years ago, so it says 2017. Pretend it says 2022. And no, pretend it says 2023, because they're all in January. But or is dates Americanized? No, you have your month and your date. Date then month.
So.
Yes.
It's still 2017.
No, I know. I'm just checking because I didn't know whether you guys put your Americanize your dating system. But
I think they're saying because they're a startup, they have no achievement timeline as of the moment. So I think you have to look ahead, like what you want to achieve. Would that be right, Lisa?
Yeah. So it might be, say the 6th of January, the middle slide, say that's actually June this year. Well, in June this year, we want to launch our business, or we want to have 2 more staff join the team, or we want to be selling to 10 clients or 100 clients. And then by September, we want to be selling to 150. And by December, we want to be selling to 500. So that's an achievement timeline. So it doesn't have to be, it could be staff that you're bringing on. It can be sales. It could be growing your social media impact. Okay, we want to have 1,000 people following our Facebook page by July, and we want to have 5,000 people by December. But that could be achievable.
It could be your goal or the goal timeline.
Yeah.
You could probably do that if you're a startup, like completely starting up.
Yeah. And it might, and this might not work for you. So you might be talking about your business goal, like, because this is really goals. Someone's done it as a timeline. A timeline like this is a really good way of showing your finances for your finance slide. Achievement timeline might not work for you, and it might just be something when you're talking about your team, about the goals that you want to achieve. Like, you know, we're building our business. We plan to launch our business in August, and we plan by February next year to be servicing 200 customers. That's okay. They're achievements. So it doesn't have to be this, I'm going to be helping 10,000 people by, you know, the 1st of July.
Just be as realistic as you can about it.
Yeah. And even if it's a small achievement, it's still an achievement.
Exactly.
For most people going to business, this is all new. You're learning. It's okay for it to take time. It's okay for you not to get it right the first time.
Exactly.
I've been in business for nearly 30 years and I'm still learning. If that makes you feel better.
The same with me. We're all learning.
Yep. Yeah. So it's okay. Yeah.
Thank you for that question. Any other question? So yeah, one last tip from you, Lisa, and then we could wrap it up. Like, we're excited to have, we're really excited to watch your pitch. Last words? Do you have last words?
Last words. Just have fun with it, I think. Like, this can be really overwhelming. Have fun. Put some personality into your presentation and your deck. So whether that's a color, whether that's the pictures, photographs you decide to include, the way you dress, you know, put a little bit of personality and a little bit of creativity into your deck and have fun with it.
Yes, definitely. Lisa, one last question. Any tips on how we'll create our slides to make it look presentable?
So I would do them I use PowerPoint because that's what I have. And that's what I got taught to use when I did my teacher training a number of years ago. I would try and have some consistency in the slides. So obviously, being part of the academy, like each slide, as I change slides, you can see that there's the logo, the color and the logo, and the name of the business down the right hand side, and then there's a little bit of pink, not on all the slides, but there's generally a little bit of pink that ties back into the logo. So something like that. If you have the time, I would probably put a logo together. Here in Australia, I don't know what you guys use overseas, but here in Australia there's a free app. I have it on my phone. You can get it on your desktop computer, called Canva. So CANVA.
Also use that.
Yep. So use Canva. So I've made up my own logos for different things at times when I've been working on a project or something. You can pop in there and make a logo up in a really short period of time. You can also put like a photo collage, use a photo collage slide in there and pop the pictures of your team in there, that kind of stuff. And you can do that all for free. And then you just email, if you're not on your desktop, I do it all on my phone. I just email that image through to my computer and upload it from there. I actually do it when I'm teaching and making up my slides. That way, when we're not with these guys, but when I teach elsewhere, I do my own slides.
But yeah, just keep it simple. And since you only have 2 minutes, maybe you could avoid the animations whenever you click them.
Yeah.
They take time.
Yeah.
Keep them simple.
But remember, a picture says says 1,000 words. So one really good picture. So one of the websites I've found recently to use for my teaching decks is Pixels, Pixels, I think it is, Pixels.com. And they have all free images that you can use. And you can basically type in what you're looking for: cat, dog, innovation.
And they're all for free.
And they're free. Yeah, it's a free photographic website, and you can use them. They just want you to give credit to the photographer. So that's all.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys. That's all we have, the time we have. Thank you for joining us this afternoon on Zoom, and everybody who is on Facebook.
Thank you. Actually, good luck, everybody.
They're actually a lot, but nobody, I think all of them are shy, but they are a lot.
That's good.
Thank you, though. Thank you for joining us. So yeah, we're very excited to see your presentations. That would be amazing. And yeah, have a good afternoon, everyone. Thank you.
Good luck.
Good luck. Yeah.
Getting a love heart. That's good.
Thank you, guys.